In this sixth module, we are going to implement the complete login authentication system and the testing. Let's quickly head to the user service, then start with our login service. For now, let's keep it empty this way. Then we will go to our controller and import it in our controller. We'll say login controller. We will expect a request and the response, so not in that thing. In the as we will expect a request and the response in the service, in the login service. So let's say login service, pass our request and our response. Then come here, remove this nest here because we barely use the nest for now. So then we will import our login service here. Yeah, good. That should work fine now. Then let's head to the auth route and define our auth route with login. We'll say login controller. Let's say login endpoint. So we'll come here and say login endpoint, login controller. That's it for now. So let's head back to our users service and implement our login. So in our login, we expect an email, then we need to validate the email. We're saying that if this is not an email, as if the email does not exist at all in the incoming request, or that is not a valid email coming from validate by validating. So we're going to check whether it's a valid email using the validator dot is email. We're going to say if it's not, let's say 400, success is false, message invalid email address, please try again. We'll do the same thing for password. If the password is not among the incoming request or the password is not strong, that's how do we check that. We use validator dot is strong password. We'll pass in the password, then we'll return the error for it. We'll say strong password is required. Then the next thing is for us to try and catch our code. Then we'll say, let's say let all error status equals to error. Remember, there's not the status here that I'm talking about is the custom status. Custom status code. I will be injecting the error code if any. So I will say rest dot this. I will say error status as if there is any error status, or 500, that is this internal server error. Let's say no. Then in our try, that's where our code that must surely work should be. So we're going to say account, which is the account we're looking for in the database, is equals to await user. This user is the user I imported from here. Dot find one, which is used to find one instance of a document. We're going to find the email. But then, when you remember, when you check our user model, we'll have password. The password here. The password here has select equals to false. So by default, even if you select, even if the document exists and you've selected it, it will not carry the password along, as it will not carry the password. So for us to do that, let's select the password and add this, because if you don't add the plus sign, it will select only the password and leave others. But if you select if you add the plus sign, it will carry everything along with the password and execute. And when it executes, then we'll go ahead and if the detail is not found, we'll return a 404, which means that the such resource is not found. Message will say account doesn't exist, please create one. And if it does exist, we'll check the status we'll check the status of the account, then we'll compare the password, then we'll generate access and refresh token, then we'll return the response. These are the stuff that we're gonna do, as simple as that. So we'll have if account the status, which is the instance of this in our user model, we'll have our status here, and we're going to match it against all this kind of status above, whether it's disabled or deleted or whatsoever. So we're going to say account status if it's not equals to user dot active, as if it's not an active account. Let's just return the rest dot status dot 403, because the only possible other one that are left, if it's not equals to active, is either disabled or deleted. In either case, the person it should return 403 for now. We don't want to go into validating each and every one of them. So we say success false message. We'll say we just pass the account the status dot to lowercase. Now is to convert it to lowercase. That's to say that which means deleted. If the status of the account is deleted, it will say deleted account. Please contact administrator. As simple as that. And if it's disabled account, it will say disabled account. Please contact administrator. Then the next thing we're gonna do is to compare our password. How do we compare our password? The simplest way is to come here. Since we're already using bcrypt here in this side, I want to keep everything clean. So let's here come here and write user schema dot methods dot compare password. We'll say function this. We'll expect a password that we want to compare. Then we're going to say if this password that we're going to compare is if it exists, and the password that we want to say, and the instance of this particular schema actually has password along. That is to say that this select during the fetch that you set this into true, and it selected this young man here. It selected the password. So if that works, then go ahead and execute this command, which means return bcrypt dot compare. What are we comparing? We're going to compare the password, which is the password that is coming in. Well, we should be careful because at times okay, yeah, let's put the password there. Then what are we comparing against this dot password as a password from the database. And once we put this, we can come here in our user service and just say constant is matched. Okay, let's just say match password. Let's say account dot this will provide our password. We're going to say if matched password does not, that is if to say if it's false. Let's just say 403.json message. We'll put both email and password are incorrect, so that we know that usually the password that we're actually checking is correct. But then in this we'll do this to check against case where the user may not be the one using the email to access the password, like more of a hacker trying to predict his email and then go into using like guessing password also. So the next thing is to generate access token. So let's do the same thing here. Write a code to generate access token. But before we generate access token, we need to install JWT, that's JSON Web Token. So let's go ahead and do that. For us to do that, let's write user schema. Let's first of all write the code, then we can now install it at the data end. User schema methods dot generate JWT token tokens, because we're going to be generating both the access and the refresh token. So let's say constant refresh token is equals to JWT. Oh, my alarm is ringing. So JWT dot sign. What are we signing with? We say ID, which is the instance of the ID being selected, which is this dot ID, and the secret should be coming from process.env dot access token secret. Then when is it gonna expire in just 1 hour. That should be the for access token, sorry. Then for refresh token, we should say refresh token secret here. It should expire, let's say, like 24 hours. Then let's go ahead and return both the access token and the refresh token. To avoid error, we have to provide this in our env. Okay, let me replace it this way. Access token, I'll replace this way. Yeah, that's cool. It's another thing we need to provide good. We don't need another thing. So we can come here in our user service and say constant access token. I think we first of all exported the access token good. Access token and the refresh token is equals to account dot this. So whatever account ID that is currently being accessed, it will use it to sign it. So we'll now say return res the status code 200, which means it's okay. Dot success true message login successful. We can also pass our data, which is access token and a refresh token. Now that's all we need. So I think this should work fine. So let's install our JSON Web Token. Because that's what we need here. We need to import it here. Yeah, it's already added. Good. So that should. So that's what we're going to do now is to check the code we have written. We need to check. We need to test in our Postman and see that everything works fine. So let me start the server. But before then, let me first start my system CTL, start my mongoose. Good. Let's run dev. Yeah. Alright, let's open a Postman so we can test. Possibly there shouldn't be any error. Let's check again and again before we okay, let me should think everything should work fine, just fine. Sorry, I think the video is getting much, so let's login is a post request, so this /login, change this to JSON. I think we saved our credential during the sign up, so let's try with the credential that we already have and see whether that works fine. Okay, well, before then, let me test with code that email that does not exist. Let's see. Account doesn't exist, fine, please create one. This works perfect. So we could save this response as an example for auth not found. So let's we have a sign up where we already have all the things that work. So let's copy this, come here, I think I didn't copy it. Control C, we'll come here and we'll paste it here. Yeah, remove this. So let's try sending right now. Good, it just worked perfect. So this is it as both access token and the refresh token. So I just sent it now as a response. But then in our next, if you want to send along your user, the authenticated user, you can just display it, while at the same time try to hide the password. So, but then in our next tutorial, I will do some cleanup and put up this as you can leave it. Put up this as cookies. You may decide to leave your own like this. The ball is in your court. You have to, maybe the best security strategy that works for you. You can always adopt it, whether local storage, by cookies, or any other method. Thank you, and see you in the next tutorial where we'll be implementing the reset password, sending of email, and confirmation of email. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Bye.